In the luxurious residential district of Bal Harbor, Miami, the morning sun streamed through the glass windows of the mansion into the dining room. On the marble counter, breakfast was meticulously prepared by Melissa. Fresh fruits, organic yogurt, and the aroma of freshly ground coffee filled the space. "James, will you be working late tonight?" Melissa Wilson asked as she placed coffee in front of her husband. Her long blonde hair shimmered in the morning light. Her modest dress exuded the elegance befitting her position as a senior manager at a major accounting firm. "Yes, I have dinner with an important client. We'll likely discuss a new project," James answered while adjusting the cuffs of his expensive suit. As a vice president at an investment bank, he always maintained an impeccable appearance. While retightening his Hermes tie, he casually checked his watch. "I see. Then I suppose I'll be working late too. But I look forward to spending weekends with family, that's what makes me happy." Melissa smiled as she saw him off. The family would gather on weekends. That was enough for her. Family meant everything to her. At the entrance, James gave her a light kiss and said, "I'm heading out." As she watched her husband's back disappear into his luxury car, Melissa felt enveloped in happiness. A perfect morning scene. It was a familiar sight that repeated itself every day. Sunday. The usual family dinner was about to begin at the Smith mansion. The soft light from the chandelier gently illuminated the antique dinnerware. "Melissa, you're looking a bit pale lately. Is work stressing you out?" Mother Carol peered worriedly at her daughter's face while bringing the fragrant roast chicken to the table. Her home cooking always delighted the family's taste buds. "Big sis, why don't you cut back on work? I have a much more relaxed approach to my job." Her sister Ashley offered her opinion. Her perfect makeup and flashy dress spoke of her profession as a luxury real estate agent. Something else lurked beneath her words about her sister. "I'm fine. Just a little tired. Once this project is done, I'll take it easier." Melissa smiled to reassure her family. Father Robert had already launched into his usual tales from his investment banking days. The same old stories about navigating high society and the secrets of deal-making. "In my day, trust was everything. Family bonds, business, it all starts with trust." Robert's words were met with a nod from his wife Carol. "That's right. Keeping up appearances is so important." A peaceful Sunday evening. It would be their last family gathering before everything changed. That Tuesday, Melissa was suddenly overcome with nausea during an important client meeting. Her colleagues watched with concern as she hurried out of the conference room. "You don't look well. Should you see a doctor?" her secretary Jennifer asked worriedly. Melissa nodded weakly. "Mrs. Wilson, congratulations. You're pregnant." Melissa was speechless at the doctor's words. The female physician in her white coat smiled kindly. "I can't believe it. A mix of joy and surprise enveloped her. She had to tell her family right away. Melissa took out her phone. She tried to leave a message on her husband's voicemail. But it was the beginning of a long series of unanswered rings. Days later, Melissa visited the hospital again. Her morning sickness was severe, and the doctor recommended additional tests as a precaution. The sound of the four-drip marked time in the silence. She gently placed her hand on her stomach. Though still bewildered by the sudden pregnancy, she felt genuine joy welling up inside her. Looking up, she noticed the large TV mounted on the wall. She picked up the remote and turned it on. Melissa watched the screen absently. It must have been part of a summer vacation special. Royal Caribbean's latest cruise ship glided majestically through emerald green waters. The ultimate luxury cruise experience. Unforgettable memories aboard the world's largest cruise ship. As the narration played, the screen showed scenes from inside the ship. Luxurious dining, spa, pool. And the smiling faces of passengers relaxing on deck. We spoke with some of our passengers. That's when it happened. It's a wonderful cruise. The profile of the man on screen. There was no mistaking it. It was James. Next to her husband in his expensive suit was. Melissa's eyes froze. Ashley, in a flashy summer dress, was clinging to her husband's arm. This is going to be such a lovely vacation. Her sister, who had always envied her happiness, wore a broad smile. Behind them, their parents could be seen sipping champagne. It can't be. Melissa's fingers trembled. She picked up her smartphone. Unlocking the screen, she logged into online banking. Her fingers shook slightly as she checked the joint account statement. This can't be real. Cold sweat ran down her spine. She opened her phone history. Messages from her husband saying he was away on business. Contact from her parents saying, "We're going on a little trip." A line message from her sister saying, "I decided to take some time off." Everything connected. With trembling fingers, she dialed her husband's number. After several rings, he finally answered. "What is it, Melissa?" The same voice as always. Gentle and kind. The truth hidden behind it was tearing Melissa's heart apart. "James, where are you?" She tried to sound as normal as possible. "At the office. In an important meeting." The sounds of the deck could be faintly heard through the phone. Melissa took a deep breath. As if drawing in her last breath of life. "Enjoy yourself." Those words carried a coldness she had never experienced before in her life. She hung up. Silence returned to the white hospital room. The cruise special was still playing on TV. Luxurious shipboard parties. Champagne toasts. Happy smiles. It all seemed like such a distant world now. "You were all deceiving me." A quiet anger filled her entire being. The sadness of betrayal. Hatred. And resolve. Melissa slowly got up from the bed. She walked to the window and looked down at Miami. The blazing sun. Gleaming skyscrapers. And in the distance, the port where cruise ships departed. "This ends now." The words rang out like a vow. She gently placed her hand on her stomach. Feeling the pulse of new life, Melissa smiled. It was a smile filled with sadness, but also with hidden strength. "Mommy will make sure you have a happy life. I promise." The sound of the four-drip echoed in the quiet hospital room. Melissa picked up her phone and began searching for a lawyer's number. When the nurse came in with test results, Melissa's expression had changed to one without any hesitation. A calm, dignified look. It was the face of someone who knew everything, filled with quiet determination. "Mrs. Wilson, your test results." "Thank you." Melissa bowed politely. Her hand accepting the envelope showed no trace of hesitation. Her heart was already filled with resolve for the battle ahead. 3 days after discharge, in a high-rise apartment in Miami, Melissa sat silently at her computer. In the dim room before dawn, the bluish light from the monitor illuminated her face. "Ashley's private account, just as I thought." The screen displayed her sister's private Instagram account. Though usually locked, Melissa had obtained the login information from her sister's ex-boyfriend. Having been betrayed by Ashley in the past, he had offered his cooperation without hesitation. The post was from a week ago. A photo taken on deck showed Ashley, their parents, and James. Their faces as they toasted with champagne looked supremely happy. "You'd been planning this for 6 months." As she scrolled, more evidence emerged. Conversations about cruise reservations. Confirmation of meeting places. And notes about making sure Melissa never saw any of it. "Don't tell big sis. She's been getting sick so easily lately." Conversations between Ashley and their mother. Words wrapped in false kindness. Melissa sighed deeply and moved on to her next investigation. Access to her husband's company email address. The password she had noted down last Christmas after he fell asleep was now proving unexpectedly useful. The truth behind nights claimed as business dinners came to light one after another. Dinner reservations with Ashley. Luxury hotel receipts. And inappropriate expenses processed through the company account. He even used company money. Improper accounting using his position as vice president of the investment bank. Evidence of personal entertainment expenses being recorded as client dinners. The amounts were not insignificant. "I have enough evidence." She picked up her smartphone and called the law firm. Despite the early hour, a top divorce lawyer responded immediately. "Mrs. Wilson, we have indeed received the materials." A calm voice responded on the other end. "With this much evidence, we can proceed quite favorably. Particularly, the evidence of improper accounting at the company is crucial." "Thank you. But this isn't over yet." Melissa turned back to her computer. Now it was time to investigate her parents. The history of the account where her father's retirement money was deposited. The finances of her mother's social event planning company. And records of her sister's real estate transactions. It was all connected. Part of her father's retirement money had flowed into her sister's real estate company. From there, funds moved into her husband's investment projects. While appearing to be legitimate transactions on the surface, they were actually tax evasion and money laundering. So this is what family bonds meant? With a bitter smile, Melissa organized the evidence one by one. Photos, emails, transaction records. All saved as digital data, ready to be made public at any time. "Ma'am, everything is ready." At 10 a.m., facing the mountain of documents brought by the lawyer, Melissa nodded quietly. Divorce mediation filing. Property division demands. And internal whistleblowing to the company. Once we submit this, there's no going back. At the lawyer's words, Melissa gave a faint smile. My life has already reached a point of no return. Outside the window, Miami was enveloped in morning bustle. The sunlight reflecting off the skyscrapers seemed to shine in support of her resolve. Then let's begin the proceedings. She signed the documents one by one. Only the sound of the pen moving across paper echoed in the quiet office. The social media posts are also ready. The tablet handed over by the assistant already had the post prepared. To my beloved family. Thank you for the wonderful memories. And goodbye. The attached photo was from that moment on the cruise ship. The intimate scene between her husband and sister. Her parents sipping champagne. Everything told the story of their false happiness. The post can be made at any time. The same goes for the company whistleblowing report. Melissa slowly stood up and walked to the window. Looking down at Miami, she said quietly, "Tomorrow at 9 a.m. Let's make everything public when they wake up." There was no hesitation in her voice. This wasn't revenge. It was a battle to reveal the truth and restore justice. And above all, it was a battle for her unborn child. "Baby, can you hear Mommy's resolve?" She gently placed her hand on her stomach. The warm pulse of life strengthened her determination even more. At dusk, Melissa returned home. The last night before leaving this house. In the living room, family photos were displayed. Their wedding photo. Travel memories with her parents. A smiling shot with her sister. It was all lies. But things would be different now. I'm starting a new life. Melissa quietly packed the photos one by one into a box. Along with the memories of the past, she sealed away the false bonds in this box. With tomorrow's sunrise, her new story would begin. Early the next morning, Melissa woke up. Outside the window, the city was slowly awakening. From the distant sea came the horn announcing the return of the cruise ship. "Welcome home, dear family." With an ironic smile, Melissa began her preparations. She checked the final confirmation email from her lawyer. All documents were in order. Well then, let's begin. The first move was the social media post. To my beloved family. Thank you for the wonderful memories. Did you enjoy the cruise? Snapshots from the cruise ship. Her husband and sister intimately close. Her parents toasting with champagne. Everything eloquently told the story of their betrayal. She pressed the post button. Her smartphone screen flickered as if announcing a new morning. Next, she logged into the company's internal whistleblowing system. Detailed records of her husband's improper accounting. Records of fabricated client dinners. Evidence of slush funds. All compiled into one file and sent. As the cruise ship arrived at port, Melissa's smartphone began to vibrate. Social media notifications arrived one after another. Shocked comments from friends. Messages of sympathy. And voices of anger. The post spread instantly. A shock ran through Miami's high society. Local news sites published their first articles. Investment bank VP suspected of misconduct, luxury cruise and inappropriate relationship revealed. Melissa calmly watched the screen. Ignoring the incoming calls, she proceeded with her planned steps. Mrs. Wilson, all procedures have been completed. On the phone, the lawyer reported. Divorce mediation filing. Property division claim. And damage compensation claim against her husband's company. Then came the call from her husband. Melissa. What is this? Welcome back, James. Did you enjoy the cruise? An ice-cold voice. On the other end, her husband stumbled over his words. This isn't, let me explain. Please handle everything through the lawyers. Goodbye. She ended the call. Next came her parents. Then her sister. Ignoring all incoming calls, Melissa moved to the next phase. 10 a.m. Local TV stations began broadcasting breaking news. Investment fraud scandal shakes Miami. High society in shock. The screen showed the cruise ship that had just arrived at port. The figures of her husband and sister getting off were captured. They covered their faces and rushed to their car as reporters gathered around. Melissa, why? Her mother's anguished voice was left on voicemail. What about our reputation, our standing? Finally understood, Mother? The importance of appearances. Muttering to herself, Melissa opened new emails. Interview requests from TV stations. Magazine coverage offers. She politely declined them all. She didn't need the media for her revenge. 2 p.m. Contact from her husband's company. We have initiated an internal investigation regarding Vice President Wilson. A matter-of-fact notice from HR. Behind it, she could hear her husband's career crumbling. Big sis, I. A message from her sister. Letters blurred with tears. Please forgive me, please. Delete. Block. All means of contact cut off. In the evening, the latest report came from her lawyer. The other party has proposed a settlement. It's a considerable amount. Not necessary. Please reveal everything. There was no hesitation in Melissa's voice. This wasn't an issue that could be resolved with money. Television was broadcasting special news. Her husband appeared on screen, exhausted, running from reporters. Her sister was crying uncontrollably, and her parents stood dumbfounded. Melissa, why? Late at night, her husband sent one last message. You all taught me the true meaning of family. After sending her reply, Melissa turned off her smartphone. Outside the window, Miami's night view sparkled. Well, time to start packing for the move. Looking at her reflection in the floor-to-ceiling windows, Melissa smiled. The life in her womb beat with a steady pulse. Let's start our new life. In her high-rise apartment, she quietly began packing. All photo frames into boxes. Expensive furniture and furnishings to be disposed of. Only the necessities would come to her new life. Goodbye. We'll never meet again. Melissa took one last look around the living room. All memories here were lies. But things would be different now. She quietly closed the door. The sound echoed like a bell announcing her departure from the past. 1 year later, the Wilson accounting office on the 14th floor of a high-rise building was bustling with morning activity. Through the glass walls, the sparkling waters of Puget Sound were visible. Emma, Mommy's treasure. Melissa gently kissed her daughter's forehead. In one corner of the office, a soundproof glass-enclosed baby room was set up. 3-month-old Emma was spending her peaceful nap time there, watched over by a nanny. Ms. Wilson, the meeting preparations are complete. Sarah, her secretary, handed over the documents. Melissa nodded with a smile. 1 year after going independent, her accounting firm had already established a solid reputation in Seattle. Our new clients today are from the Single Mothers Support Organization. Several women were waiting in the conference room. They were board members of the AITA chapter foundation that Melissa had established. Drawing from her own experience, she had also begun supporting women facing difficulties. Thanks to you, Melissa, my life has changed. One of the board members spoke tearfully. Many of the women who received support had begun walking new paths in life. Legal support, vocational training, and above all, meeting others who shared similar experiences. These had become invaluable sources of hope for them. You all are my pride. After the meeting, Melissa returned to her office overlooking Puget Sound. A newspaper from Miami lay on her desk. The article showed James's exhausted figure. With the full extent of the accounting fraud revealed, he faced not only civil lawsuits but criminal charges as well. After paying bail, he had moved from his luxury apartment to a cheap one and remained unemployed. Her sister had lost her real estate license and all her assets. Rumors said she was working part-time at a luxury boutique. All her flashy dresses and expensive jewelry had reportedly been pawned. Her parents had been completely banished from high society. They had left their luxury neighborhood in Miami and were living quietly in a rural Florida town. No one came to her mother's birthday parties anymore, and her father had become something of a recluse. Melissa quietly closed the newspaper. She no longer felt anger or hatred toward them. Only a quiet satisfaction that justice had been served remained. Her daughter woke up, reaching out her arms with a smile. "Good morning, my angel." The moment she picked her up, a warm happiness enveloped her entire body. This small life was everything in her new world. The soft spring sunlight streamed into the afternoon office. On her desk, a photo frame held a smiling picture with Emma. And a group photo with the members of the New Chapter Foundation. This was the shape of her new family. "Ms. Wilson, we have contact from a new client." Sarah brought in some documents. A Seattle IT startup. They were requesting her services as an accounting advisor for their rapidly growing company. "Let's look into it right away." Her expression as she approached work was more vibrant than ever before. At dusk, Melissa finished work early and took Emma to the waterfront park. The spring breeze gently caressed their hair. "Good evening, Ms. Wilson." A man smiled at them from a park bench. The local pediatrician. They seemed to be running into each other more often lately. "Good evening, Dr. Johnson." Casual conversation flowed easily. From Emma's health checkups to nice restaurants in Seattle. "If you'd like, perhaps we could have dinner sometime." Melissa gave a small nod to his shy invitation. "Thank you. I'll think about it." That night, in her penthouse home, Melissa was lost in thought as she put Emma to bed. Perhaps life still held wonderful surprises in store. "Hey, Emma." Melissa spoke softly while gazing at her sleeping daughter's face. "Mommy is happy. I've found true happiness." Outside the window, Seattle's night view sparkled. A new city. A new job. New encounters. And above all, a new life with her beloved daughter. This was perfect victory. Perfect happiness. Melissa kissed her daughter's forehead with a content heart. Tomorrow would bring another new day. A bright, hope-filled day.